What's good, bro?
What's good, bro, man? Just giving a quick analysis of what's going on in the aftermath of this Kyle Rittenhouse situation, bro.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I just brought you on right quick, bro, because I already know, me and you, we talk this talk, bro. So I wanted to, while we on the live feed, get your quick analysis of the whole situation.
So this is the thing, and like it's so sad that everything is so political. Like I said earlier, and I get that whole Democrats versus Republicans thing from the joint hood politics from Kendrick Lamar from the Pimp a Butterfly, because because it makes so much sense, because it's political Crips and Bloods, red versus blue. And I'm like, instead of you all being on time all through the timeline playing gang wars, get the truth about everything. I think it's good that you did, that you knew what you knew as far as the charges and why Kyle Rittenhouse got off. More people should know that, and that just shows you that the protection of white supremacy and these militias and these little loopholes, because they always gonna put stuff, that's where the power is. Like, people need to understand that, that's why I keep saying, race is far beyond I don't like you because of the color of your skin. It's a system, it's a program, it's a doctrine. And people try to say it's not about race, but they don't always fight you on the classism aspect. But those are kissing cousins, because both of them, they still go hand in hand. Both of them deal with making a certain group of people superior while making the rest of them inferior. So this is the problem that Rittenhouse, it's like. And then somebody had posted earlier, right before this video, showing one of the guys that got gunned down by Rittenhouse, I think was a pedophile or a molester or something like that. Okay, but that doesn't give Rittenhouse a get out of jail free card.
Right.
So it's he still went to, even though certain things might protect him, is why the gun charges and everything, he got off from that. But he still went down there for action. He still went down there because, just like that couple in Missouri, when the protesters, came down, they blocked their private road or whatever, they came out, the husband came out with a rifle, the wife came out with a hand pistol. So it's like, when you out there, look like it's one thing to protect your stuff or whatever, protect yourself, but when you out there thirsty, you out there looking for trouble, that's the problem.
That's another reason why he got off as well. It's not like he shot and killed innocent civilians.
Right.
Had he done that, he would have been found guilty off of that alone, because his own job was to go and protect property. Your job is not to supposedly protect property while at the same time hurting and maiming innocent civilians who had nothing to do with the protesting. He went and got at protesters, and when you look at the video, he the self-defense, that was evident, but many people don't know the law as opposed to, and many black people are like, oh, he's still guilty, man. You looking at it from a morality point of view. You have to look at it from the jurisdiction of the law. If we're gonna charge people on public opinion and on morality, why didn't he get killed that night? And so when you study the law and you study how these things operate, then you will see that he had a great case to build. And then what I said yesterday in my video was that when you have a massive amount of support behind you, when you have people in high places, such as why that judge was biased in the first place, that when your people know, it's going to help you win cases more so what you think.
Yeah, just because they can have a patsy, on standby and get rid of them, just like with the whole conspiracy plot against JFK. When the guy that they want everybody to believe did it and did it all by himself.
Yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald.
He said himself when they got him, I'm just a patsy. So and then they got rid of him just like that. They didn't even have him in custody that long because Jack Ruby got him. So so it's so many of them, and if only they understood that there's just a number, but people always want to be a part of something, even if it's to their great detriment in the end, or to the great detriment of just people, period. People don't care. People just want something to belong, so that's why they're going to uphold white supremacy in a case like this. A lot of people don't really know the depths of what they're involved in. They just, it's all for, the acceptance, you know.
That and it's something to do, a spur of the moment type of thing. Because if these white supporters that many of our people in Kenosha are claiming are for us, why weren't they in large numbers yesterday? I'm speaking from the fact I was literally there, and I'm just an observer. You know what I'm saying? And the fact of the matter is that there were no police blockades yesterday. Nothing was boarded up. You had police out there, but they were not in mass numbers. Why? Because me speaking from a military perspective, I knew that if you see a lack of police presence out on the streets, that means that they have the military on standby. You just don't know where.
Right.
And so that indicated to me that nothing's really going to go down. And plus, it's not a large crowd. It was not a large crowd for this trial to begin with at all.
Nearly Fuller teaches us that white supremacy plays both sides of the conversation. And I keep telling people, left or right, they all in the same house, and they're not gonna go against each other because a house divided cannot stand. So they stand together on the simple basis of white supremacy. And I tell people it's easy to point the finger at the right wing, the conservatives, the Republicans, for the racism, but a lot of them migrated from the other side. History shows that plenty of times, and even some of the non-mass migrations, like David Duke, ran for president on one side, failed, and went to the other one, failed. Started as a Democrat, then went to the Republican side. So it's like a lot, I tell people, like, it's the whole thing, like the whole government is shady, no matter which side it is. We haven't been looked out for, and we've been used, we've been pimped, regardless of whoever was in office. So that's why I said, we need to stop being so emotionally invested in these parties, because they never looked out for us. And even the one or two things that they may have done for us, especially on the Democratic side, they had something nefarious behind it. With even voters' rights, LBJ, said, I'm gonna have them niggas voting to Democrat for the next 200 years. But like, we're so in love with that side, and like when we used to bring awareness, it's so taboo to bring up. And like, look, we already know the other side don't care. They can't, like Malcolm said, the other side can't hide their racism enough. But this side right here that y'all in love with, the liberal side, that's the bigger snake, because they'll always use tricks and all of that. The whole uses, they're using BLM. And BLM has been in agreement with it, especially because whoever funds the most money, they're the ones in control. So you have whether it's the liberal side, like the Democrats or whatever, or George Soros or whatever, who is a known warmonger and stuff starter, then it's and black and it's like this. And hey, he isn't the first one. That's the first billionaire. I call him billionaire philanthropist. Because they're warmongers and they like death or whatever. These people don't believe in God. And like, I think years ago, Soros was interviewed, and he was like, and they asked him, do you believe in God? And he said no. So like, these people are evil. They like to see people go at it. War is a profitable investment for them. That's why, as much as groups get together and say, stop the war, these people that fund this stuff, they don't care. They ain't hearing that.
There's a book in the 1900s. His last name is Buckley. I can't remember his first name. And he wrote about it called War is a Profit. And he goes into great detail as to how every single war in this country, at least, was funded for profits for people who were elitists. And I was telling this to white folks yesterday in Kenosha. I'm like, y'all talking about this. Y'all talking about for black people. Man, this system at large don't work for me and you neither. Because when the creation of this country was founded, it didn't represent the common white folk. It was elitist white at those tables in Philadelphia. And you said it, and you hit it also on the money. Follow the money. Malcolm said that very clearly back in the day. He was like, if a black person is being accepted widely by white people, that's the person I'm careful about. Because eventually you're gonna find who is hosting their finances. But the black person who doesn't get it, who is villainized and demonized by the white press and the white media, in which many black people will go against him or her, that's the black person I may need to listen to.
Right. We have to, like, that's like, if we don't, if we don't research ourselves, and like even even like with what's going on now with this pandemic, and like people,
Yeah,
it's so people like shun and like clown the idea of research. I mean, but like, what did you do when you did your dissertations and your reports and stuff for college and for high school and elementary and college? You did your research, and providing you
yep,
had to provide that bibliography. Did you not? Did you
yep,
not have to have the citations of where you got your information? So everybody, so you still got to research. You still got to do your homework on these people. This is why you have to like with Rittenhouse. I tell, like, as much as these white supremacists that support him and the bootlicks that ride with him, they like, did you not pay attention to whatever, this case or whatever? I'm like, yeah, I paid attention to what they saying as far, and the evidence that they clearly did not want to admit or whatever for submit for evidence, or what, or the evidence that the judge didn't want to include. But also do your research on the kid and this judge, because that
yeah,
would further explain why this judge was so supportive of the kid. And like, you had like the bootlicks, so it'd be like, well, what about this and what about that, and this black person, that black person, or whatever. They had a case, and I'm like, is so these little incidences that you're trying to bring up to me, really, you really think that dispels the notion of the existence of white supremacy? Like, come on now, like, it's clear as day. They look out for their own. A lot of us ain't on code like we should
nope,
be. So, you got a good number of us that are getting on code nowadays, and thank God, because we need that. Because that's
yeah,
what it's gonna take to actually take a firm stand against white supremacy and all of these BS laws. There's still stuff in the South that they have to undo because of Jim Crow and slavery. So it's like bit by bit you're getting a story about something that's being overturned because of being established by white supremacy. That's why everybody has to, if you have a knack for law, if you have a knack for this, that, or whatever, go ahead and get in your position. And then we all got to be on code. We shouldn't tear down one another when we're in our lane, but we have to be on code. We have to be on code. Because if we're not on code, the BS is still going to continue to run. They're trying to erase history. They're trying to knock off as many of us as possible and erase history and rewrite it. The liberals have a history of successfully weaponizing everything. And like the right can't, weaponize stuff well enough. They got successful white supremacist stuff that they had weaponized, but then in like certain rhetoric, but they can't weaponize stuff as well as the left does. So I tell people, do not get involved in this whole CRT thing, because at the end of the day, it's just white supremacists duking it out. It's a sibling. It's the reason why it's called a sibling rivalry. CRT was a derivative of critical theory, which I believe was something World War II or Hitler related or whatever back then. So
yeah,
it's just a derivative of something else. And again, we already know that they read from each other's handbooks, because Hitler read from America's handbook, how to handle slavery, how to handle black folks with slavery and pro, all of that. So I'm like, don't get involved, or
you know,
don't think that you're sticking it to racists, because the left is just using that to make the skin crawl and the blood boil of the right wing, and that's not for us.
here's the thing about Hitler. He was able to use America's technology and manufacturing to upgrade his military arsenal right around the time World War II started. That's how the Blitzkrieg, I forget what, the Luftwaffe, that's how they was able to take over most countries in Western Europe at that time at such lightning speed. But what did the Henry Fords and the Rockefellers do? They were able to take the ideology behind the Aryan theory of Adolf Hitler and use it to fund many neoconservative and many neoliberal groups. And you hit it right on the thing with the CRT. At least in the South, they let it be known they want to wipe the history. This is what they do up north, and I just witnessed this last night. A white liberal asked me what was Marcus Garvey's position on capitalism and Marxism. I clearly told him, according to what Marcus Garvey wrote himself in his own books, he stated that Marxism and communism is not a friend or ally to African people. That is a European concept designed for European people So therefore, black people should not even be invested into Marxism. How, you know, he was also critical of capitalism, but in Garvey's time, he understood that capitalism could be used for good in the sense of funding our people for our ultimate goal. Man, you should have seen the face of every white liberal I said that shit to, bro.
Wow.
They was trying to get me up and down. I'm like, man, listen, you asked me what was Marcus Garvey's position, and I'm telling you. And when you speak to the masses of black people, they're not going to go along with communism because of the simple fact that the mentality of our people here, at least in America, we all about that paper. We're about getting to the bag. Black people are about advancing their capital so that they can make access, at least some of us, to acquire land, get properties and things like that, build generational wealth. That's another form of CRT that's not spoken about, because while you have your far right want to just erase the history, you have your left want to push this ideology behind what our heroes in the past stood on and was able to manifest and make work. And then, you know, when I hear liberals quote Malcolm all the time, you know, I'm like, man, do you really know Malcolm like you quoting him? Because we know Malcolm. That is our black manhood. That is our black hero. One thing about Malcolm that y'all never say, Malcolm was out here literally boots on the ground putting in the work. He was saving black people. Malcolm didn't just say, take the white man. No, Malcolm was about, it's time for us to clean each other up, lift each other up, save each other. We were doing it. I'm not seeing you liberals do it. Y'all not doing it at all.
Liberals hated Malcolm.
You come.
The liberals went after him. Hated him with a passion.
Hated him.
The conservatives might feel some type of way about him, but the liberals, like, it's the liberals that went after him. I mean, like, Father Crime Biden is on the same page with the FBI, like when talking about Antifa and all of that, you know, and like, you know, when the Bureau and intelligence have a history of putting the guns and drugs in our community and taking down our leaders, like the Panthers, and infiltrating, like with the Panthers and the Nation of Islam and all of that. Like Hoover and, you know, the liberals are on the same page. They're the ones that, you know, told, you know, the black mother to have the black father come out the household and all of that. They're all on the same page.
I'll say this one last thing. Shit, Sleepy Joe last night just came out and said that that was a good trial. That was good. That was a good verdict.
See, you tell people.
So,
as much as they talk about Trump, keep telling people these people are the same guy pretty much. Like as far as ideology, core beliefs, both car carrying white supremacists.
Man, but bro, I appreciate you, man. Real talk, I really do.
You too, bro. You too. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Gratitude, bro, and I'm gonna get in touch with you again real soon.
Yes, sir. We got to get back on there and kick some more information.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.